Page 172. Help us, help us. It's a tiny, desperate voice, maybe even Ruby's voice. Kudzu. I pick my way through the debris, trying to lock on the sound. It's not easy. Please help us, climbing over the remains of the wall, the one I was sitting on what seems like moments ago. I find myself at the bank of the moat. Ruby, I call to the top of my lungs. Uncle Bob, the sound of my name cuts through the gloom like a shaft of sun. Ruby runs to the opposite edge of the water. She's maybe 8 feet away. Maybe I can barely make her out in the torrential rain. You stay there, I yell, trying to be heard over the wind. I'll come to you. I follow the bank until I come to the spot where several chunks of wall have tumbled into the water. 3 careful leaps and I'm across. Ruby runs to greet me. She me wraps her mud-covered trunk around my neck, and boy, oh boy, am I happy to see that sweet little elephant. You hurt, Ruby? I asked. Is everyone all right? Ruby sniffles. Yes, but come quick. She dashes off before I can ask anything more. 5 of Ruby ants stand on the elephant side of the moat. Each one has her trunk plunged deep in the darkest muddy water. They look like a bunch of kids trying to find a lost toy. It's almost funny, until I see what they're reaching for. A baby gorilla is in the moat. The tiny gal keeps grabbing for the trunk to hold on, then slips free. Her terrified screeches fill the air. It's Kazoo, Ivan's favorite. An idea. I'm going in, said Masiska, one of the younger ants. Might make things worse, Aquilo cautions. Displace the mud, pull her down towards the bottom. I could go in, I suggest, the words popping out before I could swallow them. It's more mud than water, Bob. Aquilo shakes her head. You'll get as stuck as Kazoo. I don't exactly argue the point. I've got an idea, comes a small voice. The ants turn to Ruby and she looks startled to have their complete attention. A couple of us get on the other side of the moat, Ruby says. Grab trunks. We'll make it like a waiting, like a, what do you call it? A sling, I exclaim. A hammock, like the gorillas have. I don't know, Ruby. Aquilo sounds doubtful. Kazoo grabs her Maiska's trunk with both hands. Wait, Maiska says. Think I've got her this time. Maiska lifts her trunk with deliberate slowness, carefully trying to support the baby gorilla. But once again, Kazoo can't hold on. She lets out a despairing cry. Down she goes, lower this time. Her nose and eyes just are Uh, Down she goes, lower this time, her nose and eyes just visible. Okay, Aquilo says with a nod at Ruby. Let's give Ruby's idea a try. Maiska, Leilali, Elodie, cross over the far side. Zaina, Ruby, and I will take this side. All 3 elephants move with surprising quickness to the spot where I crossed. They galloped back until they're facing us. It's strange to see them on the other side of the moat with the wall destroyed. They're technically in Ivan and Kiani's domain. Move down a bit, Aquilo instructs. That way, she motions with her head. I want to scoop her out, not push her down. 3 on one side, 3 on the other. The elephants reach for each other's trunks, creating a kind of cradle. Okay, now, says Aquilo, lower carefully. Down they go into the muddy water. Ruby nearly loses her footing, so I grab her tail with my teeth. It doesn't really help, and she yelps, ouch! But my heart was in the right place. Kazoo thrashes her tiny arms. Stay calm, I call. Easy for me to say. She looks over at me. I'll never forget the fear in her dark eyes. Then she vanishes below the surface. Team Elephant. Hurry, Ruby cries. The elephants bend lower, moving like a giant elephant shovel. Where is she? Maiska asks. Lower, says Aquilo. Lower, sisters. There, Ruby yells. No, wait, there. Up, Aquilo commands, and the interlocking trunks rise from the muddy water to reveal a tiny, trembling baby gorilla sitting in their makeshift sling. Kazoo and Akilo, stay calm. Stay calm, baby. We're gonna toss you safely, okay? Kazoo gives a little nod. On a count, says Akilo, start swinging. 1, 2, 3, and over and up and over the trunks and up and over Kazoo. She lands with a little plop on the gorilla side of the moat, right next to Maiska's rear legs. Good work, everyone, says Akilo, and good thinking, Ruby. Says, thanks, Elephant, said Kazoo, wiping the mud from her eyes. That was fun. Can we do it again? Akilo takes a deep breath. Maybe later, sweetheart. Quickly, I made my way back over to the moat. Kazoo, I say, follow me. Let's find your 8 peeps. Can I go with Bob? At Ruby asked Akilo. Akilo touches Ruby's back with her trunk. I'd much rather have you stay here, dear. And it's, may I? But Uncle Ivan, Ruby pleads. I'll keep an eye on her, I tell Akilo. I'm going, Ruby says in an almost determined voice. Maybe I can help. I just help right now. Akilo hesitates but finally gives a slow nod. Probably she figures there's no arguing with Ruby. She's right on that one. Ruby crosses the moat and joins Kazoo and me. Be careful, Akilo warns. There's more of this storm coming. I got her, Akilo, I say. You better have her, she warns. I think I flew, Bob, says Kazoo, as we weave our way over through the wasteland that was Gorilla World. Yeah, me too, I say. It's that kind of day. What's out there? A handful of human firefighters and police, mostly, have begun to roam the grounds checking out the damage. We pass a park employee with a weapon sling over his shoulder and a net in one hand. Trank gun, he tells a passing officer. We don't know what's out there. She nods. How fast do they work? Oh, something like a big cat. On something like a big cat. He shakes his head. Not fast enough. I think. I look over at Ruby. Stay close, kid. As we near the gorilla villa, what's left of it anyways, a screech hits my ears that makes the wailing police siren sound like a meowing kittens. It's Kiani. She's frantically knuckling around back and forth near the collapsed Gorillaville. Chunks of cement, shredded wooden beams, and bent metal lies everywhere. A cluster of gorilla females and juveniles huddle not far from some rescue workers. There's Mama, Kazoo cries, dashing towards the gorilla named Jody. I'm so horrified by the destruction that I've almost forgotten my little muddy charge. I really shouldn't be trusted as an ape sitter. Kazoo darts over to her mother, waiting embrace. Jody muzzles her and strokes her and says soothing, motherly gorilla things like, thank you, Jody mouths to me. Don't thank me, I say, looking over Ruby. Thank this little gal. She figured out how to save Kazoo. Thank you, Ruby. Isn't it Ivan's friend? Ruby gives a shy nod. We all help. I provide moral support, I add. I flew, Mama, says Kazoo. Of course you did, dear, says Jody. Kiani's fresh wails focus my mind. I gotta go, I say, Ruby. You should stay here. I'm going for a nonsense voice, the one Julius uses on me when she calls me Robert. Let me see what's what. I'll be right back. No way, Uncle Bob, Ruby replies just as firmly. I give up, but I'm afraid of what she might see, of what we both might see. Any sign of Ivan? I asked Jody. She shakes her head in a grim, low clouding in her eyes. With Ruby by my side, we approach the pile of wreckage that used to be Gorillaville. At that moment, Ruby and I gasped. There's Ivan's hand barely peeking through the rubble. Not moving. I know that hand like the back of my own paw. No, Ruby screams. Uncle Ivan. I check the crowd. No sign of Julia or George. Nothing. No Maya either, or other keepers I recognize. Just a few employees, several rescue workers, and 2 or 3 days-looking visitors. Is he alive? A firefighter asked. Hand Whatever it is isn't moving, says another, waving my way through the tangle of legs. I climb up the rubble pile, sniffing a bit, and bark my louder. Yes, he's alive. Get your rears in gear, bark. Just like those overachieving rescue dogs in the Man's Best Friend show. I listened for a sound from Ivan, a grunt, a cry for help, nothing. Still, he smells alive. At least I think he does, and that's a good enough for me.